If you would like to sing from a hymn book, if you like to read music, for example, we want to invite you to go to the hymns, which are right up against that low wall over there. There's a teal book and a gray book. We'll be using both today. And before each song, if you see, for example, this is our gathering song we're about to sing. Before the verses come up, they always say like the name of the song with the number, and the numbers below 1,000 are in the gray book. The numbers above, there it is. Morning Has Broken, number 38. So if you've not gotten a hymn book and you want one, please get one and then find your seats. Please rise in body or spirit and join us. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird.
Welcome to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Welcome to those of you who are visiting us today, maybe for the first or second time. Welcome to those who are faithfully here week after week. And welcome back to a few. I see some faces I haven't seen in a while, and it is a great delight to see you again. I'm Melanie Clunan-Schulte, your worship associate. Our settled minister, Reverend Sarah Oglesby Dunnigan, is out of the pulpit this Sunday. She will be back next week for our annual cornbread communion. And things are going to be a little different this year. The baking of the cornbread is kind of open to all. And so check your email later today for a sign-up sheet for that. Well, our guest in the pulpit today is actually one of the most delightful people I know. Bob Del Carlo is a friend of the congregation and a person who just radiates joy, not from a place of naivete, but like the sun that can't be contained behind the clouds for too long. I know that when I have been at the lowest points in my life, it's nature that I have found most healing. Today, Bob, who is an avid hiker, and for many years was a naturalist for the Park Services, will share his thoughts on the spirituality of the natural world. Being in nature provides perspective. The scope of nature and of history is vast and ever-changing, even when it looks like a still life. It is unpredictable despite the patterns we imagine, and there is beauty even when it is dark and terrifying. And in there are lessons for coping with grief and disappointment, for rebirth and transformation, feeling joy in spite of. In nature, I have felt at times, as Wordsworth put it, surprised by joy. And I don't want to overpromise, but you might just be surprised by joy here today. And if you want to share joy or any other emotion with someone after the service, our lay pastoral care associates are always available to lend an ear. In the sanctuary, that is Joyce Donahue, and she's waving her arm there in the back. She'll be up at the front, though, after the service. And online, that is Claudette Wassel. You can always send a message to pastoralcare@vuu.org as well, and that will continue throughout the week. You can always reach them if you need to. And parents, you don't need to go across the way today to collect your children. They will actually be coming back here at 11:45, and I think that they have something to share out there in the foyer that you might want to check out. We typically have visitors, and if you're a visitor today, would you have the courage to stand so that we can greet you? There will be a welcome circle as usual that forms after the service if you want to learn a little bit more about us. And we are a hybrid community with many of our members and friends watching us around Arizona and even around the world, streaming on YouTube. So let's wave to them now. If you just wave up to that camera, they'll be able to see us. And now let's light our chalice together. As Bob lights that, let's say the words, "We kindle this flame, symbol of our faith, for the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of love which calls us to work for justice." And now our invitation to worship. That street light looks like the slicked backbone of a dead tree in the rain, its green lamp blazing like the first neon fig glowing in the first garden on a continent that split away from Africa, from which floated away Brazil. Why are we not more amazed by the constellations, all those flung stars held together by the thinnest filaments of our evolved, image-making brains? For instance, here we are in the middle of another autumn, plummeting through a universe that made us from its shattering and dust, stooping now to pick an orange leaf from the sidewalk, a small veined hand we hold in an open palm, as we walk through the park on a weekend we invented so that we would have time to spare. Time, another idea we devised so the days would have an epilogue, precise, unwavering, a pendulum strung above our heads. When was the sun enough? The moon with its diminishing face, the sea with its nets of fish, the meadows' yellow baskets of grain. If I was in charge, I'd say, leave them there on their backs in the grass, wondering, eating berries and rolling toward each other's naked bodies for warmth, for something we've yet to name. When the leaves were turning colors in their dying and we didn't know why, or that they would return, bud and green, one of a billion small miracles. This planet will again be stone.
We're trying something new. We've decided to try sometimes having a pop-up choir. They are popping up right now, the ones for today. If you are interested in participating in music with us in the services, sometimes you can email me or Lynn, or you might need to find out what our emails are, but we are looking for more musicians. Today we've got Lisa. I was going to do last names, but now I'm worried I'm going to miss some names. So Lisa, Rebecca, Mary, Joanne, and Mark. And you can open your hymn books if you want to sing with us. The opening song is For the Beauty of the Earth. It's number 21 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit.
Hello, I'm Sarah Sauter, she, her, and I'm your Interim Director of Faith Formation. Today we have something very special to share with you, and I'd like to invite Janet Nash to the podium to let us know all about it.
Hello, my name is Janet Nash. My pronouns are she, her. This is all about the OWL program. And first, I'd like to welcome the facilitators of our OWL class to join me up front. We had Brandy Knutson and Mark Beeler facilitating the parent class. Next is Magnus Hawthorne and Joel Sanis, who taught Group A of our 5th and 6th graders, and Paul Schneider and myself, we taught Group B of the 5th and 6th graders. Okay, I was going to say while they're coming up here, but they're already up here. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you anyway. A mom is driving her little girl to her friend's house for a play date. Mommy, she asks, how old are you? Honey, you are not supposed to ask a lady her age, the mother warns. It is not polite. Okay, the little girl says. How much do you weigh? Now, really, the mother says. These are personal questions and are really none of your business. Undaunted, the little girl asks, why did you and Daddy get a divorce? Those are enough questions, honestly. The exasperated mother walks away as the two friends begin to play. My mom wouldn't tell me anything, the little girl says to her friend. Well, says the friend, all you need to do is look at her driver's license. It's like a report card. It has everything on it. Later that night, the little girl says to her mother, I know how old you are. You're 32. The mother is surprised and asks, how did you find that out? I also know you weigh 140 pounds. The mother is past surprise and shock now. How in heaven's name did you find that out? And the little girl says triumphantly, I know why you and Daddy got a divorce. Oh, really? The mother asks, why? Because you got an F in sex. So, this our whole lives sexuality education class, also known as OWL, is a 10 workshop curriculum designed to help 5th and 6th graders ages 10 through 12 gain the knowledge, life principles, and skills they need to express their sexuality in life-enhancing and age-appropriate ways. The curriculum includes readings, handouts, activities, and questions to guide discussion throughout the program. In addition, the children ideally study assigned companion reading in the book, It's Perfectly Normal, Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex, and Sexual Health, written by Roby Harris and illustrated by Michael Emberley. The curriculum is published jointly by the VUU and the United Church of Christ. Although published by 2 religious organizations, the guides are completely secular and free of specific religious doctrine or reference. OWL is available at our congregation for grades K1, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, as well as young adult, adult, and older adult age groups. I learned a lot in that older adult class, by the way. It's a really good class. I'm here today to present certificates of completion to our grade 5-6 participants. We'll start with Joel and Magnus presenting to their class, and then Paul and I will present to our class. As each child's name is called, please come forward and receive your certificate, and then stay up here to be recognized.
First is Aldo Casillos. Aldo, could you please come up? Joel, do you want to hand this to him? Yes.
I'm going to ask you to hold your applause until we're all done, because this will take forever if we do that. Thank you.
Next is Armani Jurgensen, and then Avon Knutson, Gavin Brown, Grayson Schneider, Lincoln Lee, Patty Gaskill, Savannah Havalosa Starrick, Simon Blond, and Teo Amaria. Everybody's here.
If you haven't noticed, the class was so big we had to split it between two facilitator groups. So the second half of the groups are Ari Weech, Audrey Tolmakoff, Daniel Herswicker, Gemma Beagley, Rosalind Herswicker, Gunther Runk, Lily Mears, Lincoln Montfort, and Lucy Seaforth.
These were really great kids to have in class, and thank you everyone who made this possible, including the facilitators and the parents and the kids themselves for showing up. Thank you.
And now the children of all ages may follow us to their classes in the other building. Visitors, if you wish your children to stay with you, may they do so.
Please stand if you are able.
Get comfortable in your seat. And if you feel like it, you can gently close your eyes or just lower them. And begin to feel your body soften with your breath. And imagine yourself standing in the middle of a peaceful forest or beside a calm stream. Picture the trees around you swaying in the breeze. Hear the soft rustling of the leaves, the distant chirping of birds, and the flow of water. As you stand there, allow yourself to feel the weight of disappointment, anger, or loss. Acknowledge these or any other negative emotions without judgment. They are part of your current experience, like the weather that passes through nature. Now imagine the wind picking up, gently swirling around you. With each breeze, picture your anger and sorrow as leaves that the wind can carry away. Visualize the leaves floating away, moving farther and farther from you. You don't need to hold on to them. The wind is there to help, to gently remove the heaviness you've been carrying. As the leaves drift away, feel the stillness of the forest or the flow of the stream grounding you. Imagine that just like the earth beneath you, you are rooted, steady, and strong, even in the face of pain. In this moment, allow yourself to simply be. Feel the connection to nature, knowing that just as seasons change, emotions too ebb and flow. Anger and sadness, like the leaves, will eventually pass. When you're ready, take a deep breath and slowly bring your awareness back to the present here in the sanctuary. Know that you are not alone, and the natural world is always here to offer you a place of peace. During our centering music, feel free to light a candle, move a stone, or add some water to our fountain to commemorate a joy or a sorrow.
We're going to sing the first 3 verses, and then we'll pause for instrumental, beautiful Lynn music, and then we'll sing the 4th verse together. You don't have to sing with us, but we invite you to. But we'll remain seated unless you're doing a ritual.
For Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Bob. And I want to also give a shout out to some of my dear friends from the Dalai Lama group that came to see me. Makes me feel real good. And I welcome everybody. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved nature. My mom and dad took the time to instill the love of nature in us, and my brother is out there too today. And it really stuck. And I want to talk a little bit about the connection between nature, natural world, and spirituality. And Melanie did a great job of setting it up for me. Anyway, there's a concept from Japan called forest bathing. And it really is kind of interesting. It's a practice that involves spending time in a forest or any other natural area and actively engaging your senses with the sights, sounds, smells, and textures of nature. Take a time to sit under a tree, find a log that's on the ground and just sit on the log and just breathe in the essence of the forest environment. Feel its rough bark. Smell its fallen leaves decomposing into the soil. Become a place of ferns, moisture, growth, decay, where millions of living things eat, are eaten, mate, and die. Feel the forces of wind, sun, and rain. Immersing ourselves in the natural world can enhance feeling of spirituality and a closeness to a higher power. Some consider wilderness as sacred. The Hopi people believe that the San Francisco peaks near Flagstaff, Arizona, are sacred. In fact, that's where I'm going to have my ashes scattered. When you experience awe-inspiring moments in nature, like the first view of the Grand Canyon, which is a literal visual shock, or the beautiful view from a mountain summit, or being in the presence of trees that are over 3,000 years old, towering 300 feet above you in a cathedral-like setting, such as the sequoia and the redwood trees, or gazing at the Milky Way galaxy on a clear night. These unforgettable moments can lead to a spiritual connection between nature, the universe, and your higher power. I want to mention some things about the universe, about space. Just for a minute, try to visualize the vastness of the universe. It is beyond our comprehension. Even our top scientists, with their latest equipment, cannot measure the size. Within this universe, there are billions of galaxies composed of 100 to 200 billion stars and planets. Some of these smaller galaxies, in a far-off corner, there is a minor sun. Around this sun revolve a few little pinpoints of light, one of which is called planet Earth. Our Earth is comparable to a speck of pollen floating over the Pacific Ocean. The sun is 93 million miles from Earth. Now, if we wanted to go to Pluto, if we had the capability of doing that, it would take about 4 billion miles. Now comes a great gap, an abyss of space that practically isolates our solar system from the rest of the universe. Beyond that gap is a star, the nearest star to our solar system, Alpha Centauri. It's 25 trillion miles away. If we wanted to get into the center of the Milky Way galaxy, which we are a part of, it would be 150,000 trillion miles, because we're way out on the edge of the Milky Way galaxy. I want to give you some perspective of these numbers, because these numbers really don't mean anything in the context of the universe. To count to 1 billion, if you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, it would take you 32 years to get to 1 billion. If you want to count to 1 trillion, it's going to take you 32,000 years. And if you want to stack a pile of bills one on top of another, it would go up 67 miles. To make these distances more manageable, astronomers used the light year, where light travels 186,000 miles per second for an entire year, and it comes out to 6 trillion miles. 1 light year is 6 trillion miles. Alpha Centauri, the star I mentioned to you, is 4.5 light years away. The stars of space can be thought of as magnificent stellar bonfires blazing in the heavens. The light that strikes the eyes of the observer from the globular cluster M13 left its source 25,000 light years ago, during the time that Neanderthal man first arrived on Earth. The cluster contains over 100,000 stars packed tightly together, ranging in age from 12 to 20 billion years. They're old stars. M13 is part of the Milky Way galaxy, our galactic home. On a clear night, it appears as a great belt of pearly light spanning over the sky like an arch. The galaxy contains over 150 billion stars and 800 billion to 3.2 trillion planets. We might not be alone in the universe. There are some very large planets and stars in space. The sun that we orbit around is so huge that you could put 1 million Earths inside it. But compared to the red giant Antares, our sun is quite small. Antares is one of the largest stars visible to the naked eye. You can see Antares on a clear night in the Scorpius constellation, way down to the south, the lower part of the sky. It has a red glow to it. It's 10,000 times brighter than our sun and 700 times larger in diameter than our sun. If our planet Earth revolved around Antares, we would be engulfed in its mass and instantly vaporized. There's billions of stars in space. You would think there'd be a celestial traffic jam in space. But as one astronomer remarked, set 3 wasps flying over the skies of Europe, and the skies of Europe would be more crowded with wasps than space is with stars. Well, let's come back down to Earth for a moment. Before we do, though, I want to just give you make an announcement about the Leonid meteor shower that's starting tonight about midnight and extending into early Monday morning. You'll see about 12 meteors per hour. Look off to the east, in the eastern part of the sky, if you're up late at night or early in the morning. When coming back to Earth, I want to come to the Sonoran Desert, the desert that is here in Arizona. And the Sonoran Desert is the most biologically diverse desert of the 4 major deserts in North America because it has 2 periods of rainfall, winter rains and the summer monsoons, although we didn't get the summer monsoons this year. It's got over 2,000 species of plants and about 600 species of animals. And it's the complex adaptations that plants and animals make to survive the challenging desert environment, and the part that plants and animals play in the overall web of life is a part of the story of the Sonoran Desert. In the Sonoran Desert, we have a very popular plant, the saguaro cactus. It's an indicator species. It only is in the Sonoran Desert. It doesn't live in the Chihuahuan or the Mojave Desert. It's a succulent, stores water, and a mature saguaro cactus can store as much as 2,000 gallons of water, which it can then use during prolonged periods of drought. Saguaro cactuses grow very slowly, and they're very vulnerable about the first 10 years of their life. And so they grow under a nurse tree, like a Palo Verde tree or a mesquite tree. Next time you walk through the desert, look for a Palo Verde tree, and you'll probably see a little saguaro cactus underneath it. The trouble for the nurse tree, though, is that as the saguaro cactus gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it hoards all the water, and the nurse tree dies out. Nature has some tough edges to it. The thorns on the saguaro cactus provide cooling and protection from hungry plant eaters. The saguaro cactus, their reproduction strategy is to grow as many arms as possible. After about 70 to 100 years, the saguaro cactus starts to grow arms, and the flowers appear at the ends of the arms and on top of the saguaro cactus. The flowers produce, of course, fruit, and the fruit has about 2,000 seeds in it. So a mature saguaro in its lifetime, which can be as much as 150 years, can produce millions of seeds, which the wildlife depends on in the ecology of the Sonoran Desert. Sometimes I like to refer to saguaro cactuses as a condo in the desert. It provides habitat for nesting eagles, hawks. It has little holes in the saguaro cactus where the flickers and the Gila woodpeckers drill looking for insect larvae, and these holes make great homes for the elf owl and the screech owl. There's other adaptations that plants have. The Palo Verde tree, which I mentioned, and the mesquite tree are often referred to as drought deciduous because during the prolonged dry periods of temperature and heat, they don't want to lose moisture through their leaves via photosynthesis. And so they drop their leaves and kind of go dormant. And then when the rains come again, they regain their leaves. The creosote shrub, we can thank the creosote shrub, which is one of the most common shrubs in the desert. In fact, when you walk by a creosote bush, grab the leaves and squeeze them and then smell your hands. And that's the fragrance that we get when it rains in the desert. The creosote bush provides that rain or that fragrance. It has waxy, small leaves that help prevent loss of moisture through the leaves. And the jojoba bush, which is very common in the desert, the leaves are small and they're perpendicular, so it reduces surface level to the sunlight to help prevent loss of moisture. Well, there's animals in the Sonoran Desert that have adaptations. The little kangaroo rat, which is active at night, has such advanced adaptations for preventing water loss that it doesn't have to drink water. It gets its moisture from the seeds it eats in the metabolic breakdown of the seeds. The rattlesnake, the western diamondback rattlesnake, is often feared and misunderstood. It's not aggressive. About the only way you could get bit by a rattlesnake is if you try to pick it up or step on it or put your hand where you don't see where something is underneath your hand. If you do get struck by a rattlesnake, the best first aid is a set of car keys. Get to the hospital. Rattlesnakes are part of the pit viper family. They have a pair of pits between their eyes and nostrils. The pits are heat receptors that allow the snake to accurately strike at warm-bodied prey, even in complete darkness. The rattlesnake also is prey to various wildlife, such as the roadrunner. It's easy to overlook the teeming life that lives in the soil, right under our feet. If you take 2 tablespoonfuls of soil, there can be as many single-cell bacterial life forms as there are people on Earth. In a complex web of interdependent organisms, they perform the chemical processes that form the foundations of life. An example of these organisms is nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Nitrogen-fixing bacteria are microorganisms that can convert atmospheric nitrogen gas into a usable form, which plants can then absorb and utilize for growth, in which all animals depend on. If some pesticide defoliant should, by inadvertence, kill too many nitrogen-fixing bacteria organisms, life on Earth could end. As we can see from the many relationships in nature, we realize all life on Earth is interconnected. We call this connection the web of life. John Muir, the naturalist, who's one of my favorite sources of quotes, had a great quote where he said, if you take something out and pull it out by itself, you find that it's connected to the universe. When there is a loss of a member of the web due to extinction of the species, it can have a profound effect. If the long-nosed bat, which is the main pollinator of the saguaro cactus and is suffering from an epidemic of white nose syndrome that's affecting all bats, if that bat eventually becomes extinct, the saguaro cactus would feel the repercussions of that, because the long-nosed bat is a main pollinator. And all the wildlife that depends on the saguaro cactus would feel the effect. It's like a rippling effect. I would like to share a quote by William Beebe about the tragedy of extinction. The beauty and genius of a work of art may be reconceived, though its first material expression be destroyed. A vanished harmony may yet again inspire the composer, but when the last individual of a race of living things breathes no more, another heaven and another earth must pass before such a one can be again. Nature is a resource that people may use to connect to the sacred and to generate spiritual feelings. This can result in a greater appreciation for the beauty and magnificent complexity of creation and evoke praise for a higher power. I'd like to end with a quote and then a little reflection. They're going to put some slides up. Well, in fact, there they are. I didn't even see them. That's great. The quote is, again, from John Muir. Life isn't measured by how many breaths that you take, but by the moments that take our breaths away. Thank you, everybody.
We'll now have our ushers come forward to collect the offering. We receive so many gifts from this place and give so many gifts of our time and energy, but also our finances at times, and this is one of those times. So you can text, you can drop something in the plate, or you can mail your check. The address is there. Thank you for your generosity. That was beautiful. Some things on this earth are unspeakable. Genealogy of the broken, a shy wind threading leaves, after a massacre. Or the smell of coffee and no one there. Some humans say trees are not sentient beings, but they do not understand poetry. Nor can they hear the singing of trees when they are fed by wind or water music, or hear their cries of anguish when they are broken and bereft. Now I am a woman longing to be a tree, planted in a moist, dark earth between sunrise and sunset. I cannot walk through all the realms. I carry a yearning I cannot bear alone in the dark. What shall I do with all this heartache? The deepest rooted dream of a tree is to walk, even just a little ways, from the place next to the doorway to the edge of the river of life and drink. I have heard trees talking long after the sun has gone down. Imagine what it would be like to dance together in this land of water and knowledge, to drink deep what is undrinkable.
Please rise for one last hymn. This is a favorite, maybe the favorite for this congregation, Blue Boat Home, in the Teal Hymn Book 1064. I heard a yes. I love it.
And let's now extinguish our chalice together. Though we extinguish the chalice, Our connection to each other and this community remains. May its light guide us this week as we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, and fill our world with compassion until we meet again. Go now in peace and with the fortitude of a desert plant.